Good.
So, yeah, I want to jump in and really, I know that as far as sales, I really want to jump in today about sales and about targeting the right people. I'm going to take you through the same 5-step process that I use here.
Okay.
And I use every day. And so we just did it. We just had a successful transaction. We, as far as the consultant side of business, have probably had our best month ever. And I use the very same set formula I'm going to teach you. So first of all, write down the word targeting. We're going to target the right people.
Okay.
The reason targeting is so important, the reason targeting is so crucial is because we've got 7 billion people on Earth. And the beauty of that is we don't have to attract everybody. We're not Amazon.
Right.
You're on Amazon, okay, you can just throw something out there, somebody will want it. We're not Amazon. We're not trying to be Amazon. We are going to change lives, though. And the way we're going to do it is by targeting the people that you can help. Now, I know, so we're going to talk specific about your business. And I know you're doing relationship coaching. So a few questions, and I know some of this we may have talked about before, but I really want to get back into it. Who would be your ideal target person? And this can change, but right now, if you had a client paying you every month for coaching, every month to help them in their life, what does that client look like? Have you thought about that? And that's where you really got to get into the avatar, what they call in the marketing world, is who does that person look like? And there's a few questions we're going to go through. But before we get into my questions, who do you think it would be in your life? Who do you think you would feel comfortable working with? Who do you feel comfortable helping?
I think it would be a couple between the ages of 30 and, between the ages of 30 and 40. Or 30 and 50. 30 and 50. Yeah.
Okay. Male, female?
Both.
Both. Okay. Good. Okay. And so I'm going to give you a couple of things to write down because most people stop there. And that's okay because you can go on Facebook and target. When I first started teaching this 5-step formula, there was no Facebook. So what we did as far as targeting is we thought about where do people hang out, our ideal client. A life insurance agent, has an ideal client, a married couple with children, and so back in the day, a life insurance client would actually go and they would get baby birth announcements in the newspaper, and so forth. And they would target people most likely to buy their life insurance. And so, but today with technology, unlike it's ever been before, we don't have to do that. Today we can go in and go, okay, I want to work with a male or female, 30 to 50. And then we can say maybe they're married, maybe they're divorced, maybe whatever. And so you can really start honing in on that person.
Right.
But I want to go even deeper than that because that's easy targeting. You can get on Facebook, you can do that. And what's so beautiful is I, for instance, in my business, in the counseling side, I can go look on Facebook and see how many people responded, their age. Most of them are female from age 30 to 55. Most of them are divorced. And I started noticing who I'm working with. So I can target my message and my ad towards that person.
Right.
But we want to go deeper. So today I'm going to really just give you a lot of in-depth on who to target and how to create an avatar and what an avatar is. So number one, we want to start with the goals and values of our ideal customer.
Okay.
And so what I mean by that, it's not just their age. What are their goals? What are their values? For a business person, maybe let's say a business person named Tom. Tom may want to increase his income. He may want to add employees. He may want to add a second location if he owns a donut shop. So he wants to add on. That's his goal. But what's his values? And his values, maybe he's committed to, putting God first in a business. Maybe he's committed to never mentioning God in his business. Okay. I don't agree with that, but I'm just saying, what is this person's values? Maybe he wants to provide value for his clients. Maybe he wants to use only ethical advertisement where somebody else is willing to do some gimmicks or anything. Yeah, so what's their goals and values? So, and I'm not asking you to come up with this now. This will be homework, but start thinking of that. Right. And so then, where would we find that person? Let's say you said male, female, age 30 to 50. In relationship marketing, we want to look at what is their goal. Do they want to get married? Do they want to get divorced? Do they want to have a happy marriage? Are they single? And so, and I know in relationship coaching, as I do it too, there's so many different variables. Mm-hmm. But you really got to go in and begin to ask, what does this client need? If I were to have the ideal client, if I had a storefront business and they walked in and said, counsel me, what would they have as far as a goal, and what would they have as far as values in their life? Because out of 7 billion people, you can pick and choose. You can work with the people that you are able to work with. Right. Okay, so now let me ask you this. Let's take a 30 to 50-year-old male, female. What is one of their goals? If they came to you, what would you say one of their goals would be?
One of their goals would be to be more stable in their relationship.
Stable in relationship. Okay. So they're in a relationship.
Yes, they're in a relationship. But, I think that when a person's about 30 to 50, they're thinking about their legacy, what they're leaving, what they're establishing as far as their family, as far as their future is concerned.
I think maybe they're dealing with shared responsibility, balancing a career, because not too many women are home anymore. So the frustration in that is that sometimes within the Black culture, the woman might make more money, and the man may have a labor job, and there's a balance there where most of the time men are still expecting the wife, when she comes home, to do the work as though she was home, not understanding that she has worked and she needs help. I think that's very frustrating.
That's a good point. Yeah. Okay. So let's look at this. Are you, if that's, so we've got balance, we've got people looking at their legacy, their future, and we've got people stable in relationships, which is obviously, are they stable where they're at? Where would you find these? I'm going to ask you to dig a little deeper even. Mm-hmm. You've already thought about this, I can hear, and I know you've got something here. And you mentioned something too, and this is, so I'm going to say it since you mentioned it, because this could be very, very good for you. And you don't have to, I'm just going to mention it. You mentioned in the Black culture. Mm-hmm. So that's going to be something for you to consider if you primarily want to work in the Black culture.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that. We live in a world today where people get offended about everything. But there's nothing wrong with that, because you are African American. You do have a insight that Caucasians don't have. So let's use that as far as targeting. You made a very good point there. you can use that as an advantage in your marketing and also as an advantage in helping people. So if you look at the books, one of the best-selling books of all time, Think and Grow Rich. But now there's also a Think and Grow Rich for the Black person.
Oh, really?
I can't remember the title. Yeah, I don't remember the title. I think it was for Blacks. I really believe. But the point is, I haven't read it, but I'm sure they've taken some of the concept and put it back to the culture. Does that make sense?
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. And so, very, very, very important. I spoke at a conference in Atlanta, Georgia, and I was the only white person in the conference. So what I taught on was what the white culture could learn from the Black culture,
right?
Okay.
In church.
Yes.
Okay.
And possibly what the Black culture could learn from the white culture. We looked at strengths. We all have strengths, even in culture. The Hispanic culture is very family oriented.
Very, very.
Asian culture, very focused on honor and very focused on discipline. And so we can learn from instead of being prejudiced. But I ain't here to preach, so let me talk. So, but the point is using it as an advantage. So let's say now we can now go in and we can target 30 to 50-year-old male and females that are African Americans. We don't have to worry about Asians, whites, everybody else. And that's okay because you're going to have a market there. And you may decide later to change that. That's targeted. The reason you target isn't just to get the money, it's so that you can help the people that you already know how to help.
Right.
Yes.
When I'm mentoring in the Christian realm, I don't get into a lot of eschatology, end time teaching. I don't feel equipped. It's not my calling. So I don't do that. But so there's other areas. I'll leave that to other people. So you want to target based on what you are really at. So we're looking at that. Okay. So now targeting is also their goals and their values. What do they value? So what would someone 30 to 50 years old that is trying to balance responsibilities and thinking about their future, what is something they value? What would be something that's really important to them?
Education might be.
Education?
Education might be. It's usually strong within the Black culture because we weren't able to read and write. So now we can. And there's so much, such a greater advantage to what our ancestors had. So I think a lot of these families pushing education, even with their young ones, if they have children.
That's good.
Yeah.
Okay. What is the challenge? What is the challenge of your ideal customer?
The challenge is to stay focused in the culture.
Because
one of the things that you're looking at is if it's going to be targeted toward African Americans, you know that right now they're dealing with the whole thing about the racism in America, how they're still dealing with things as far as prejudice and all the rest of that, and Black Lives Matter and all the rest of those things. So it's a case of staying centered in the culture, not allowing the things that are going on the outside to kind of distract them from their goals and what the things that they want to do.
Gotcha. Okay. Good. Okay. So what, and almost related to that is the pain point. What are they scared of? What hurts them? And that's very close. Fear of losing destiny and purpose over. Yeah. So here's what I'm saying. And so I'm glad you're articulating this because here's what you want to look at. An ideal avatar. let me give you one outside of my coaching. Well, let me give you a coaching. Those, an ideal client for me to come in and say, I want to be a coach and go and get our book and everything. Yeah. They're ideal, and this is how I target them. Most of them are women, but we target men and women because a lot of most women know they need to go do something. Most men are still trying to figure it out.
Right.
Women are easier to say, teach me, and men are a little more hard-headed sometimes. It's being real.
Mm-hmm.
So mine is male and female. Most of them are married, ages 35 to 60, because they're in that early midlife crisis, retired. What am I going to do with my life?
Exactly.
Okay. And so they're like, what am I going to do? I want to help people. They're starting to think more about their legacy also. What am I going to be known for?
Yes.
Was I known to help people? And so their occupation for me, and so this is a question, what is the occupation of the people that can come to you? It's going to vary, but if you had to narrow it down a little more, my occupation are single moms. My occupation are people that are, they hate their job. They're more corporate level, middle income, but hate it.
Right.
They're looking to do something for themselves. So I have to start thinking about this because I want my ads to talk to these people.
Yeah.
Yes.
See, when I hear reality and relationships, I love it. But but that's good. But then we need a tagline. We need to target through our speech. We need to target through our ads. We need to target through, so helping, and I'm not trying to give you words here, but basically you want to say something along the lines of helping people discover their purpose and destiny in relationships in the Black culture, in the Black, in the world today.
We need a subtitle.
You got to get in. You got to word that, and we'll do that on another call. But you really got to start thinking: if this is who I'm called to help,
right?
Then how can I help them? So let me say something. Go ahead.
Now Shebra is really geared toward doing the health thing as far as people with lupus and LS, what's called SLE.
SLE is lupus.
So one of the things that we were talking about in the reality relationship, which will probably be good for both of us, is how to deal with health issues, how to keep the romance while going through physical challenges.
Now let me tell you, Brother Wayne, there is somebody on my prayer line. There's a mother on my prayer line whose daughter I've spoken to on several occasions. She has brain tumor, cancerous, and she is really dealing with issues, and her husband doesn't know how to handle. Now, in the back of my mind, I want to coach them, but he is not
a believer.
He's not a believer, but he has some health issues of his own. And right now, as far as a few days ago, she's trying to find another place to live because he's abusive, verbally abusive, and emotionally abusive. They have 2 children, and her mother is helping, but he's just coming out of a health challenge and working. He was not didn't have a job for a few years, and he's just coming into. So because of that, I don't know. It sounds like a good client situation, but I'm not certain with it. I'm just
okay. Well, let me. I'm glad you said that. Let me give you. Let's go back to one of the number one rules of sales. Just because you have the magic solution doesn't mean everybody wants it.
Hello, thank you.
And it doesn't mean everybody's time. That's why we're talking about targeting.
Yeah.
I work with a lot of people that I know I could truly help, but I gently plant seeds of this is who I am, this is what I do. If you'd like to have a conversation. And some people are never going to do And then there's those that will at some point say, okay, I'm ready. Let's change this. And so that's back to targeting. That's back to targeting.
Okay.
Here's the key about targeting. Everybody knows how to lose weight. You don't eat as much. You take in less calories. I mean, it's a reality. You take in less calories than you burn. But how many people are overweight? Now, so if we know the solution, that doesn't mean people are going to take advantage of it.
Right.
So what we're doing in targeting is we're really going back to our customer avatar. There has to be motivation. One of the things they really teach in real estate, really big in real estate, is just because somebody says they want to sell a home or buy a home is nothing unless they have motivation to do it, which means I lost a job. I got a new job. I'm moving. Somebody in the family died. Somebody got married. We had kids. There's got to be motivation or they just stay stuck.
Gotcha.
Okay.
You talked about culture. It's the same thing. You've got to have a way to motivate culture. And I'm not just talking about race. I'm talking about culture in general. There's got to be something that motivates them, that they can keep their eye on the prize. So what you do with that person is you keep feeding them as much as you can out of your heart, and you help them where you can. But one of the best ways to really help somebody like that is passive, not direct. What I mean by that is you let them see you on Facebook. You let them see testimonials. You let them see passively without saying, hey, look at this. Hey, look at this. Hey, look at this.
Yes.
And so we just had one call just before I got on the phone with you. She said, Wayne, I have looked at you for months. I'm ready to join and become a coach. So she's very passive. She's seen it. And she was direct. And I said, great, let's get started. And so that's kind of where you want to be, is passive with those. Now, but we want to be very direct with your message, because if you're only passive, you'll go hungry with the wealth of knowledge in you.
Gotcha.
Okay.
So the directness is saying, who can I help today? How many? And here's the question for you. And you don't have an answer, just something to ponder on. How many 30 to 50-year-old African Americans need help in their relationship, finding their destiny, finding a balance, and staying focused?
Gotcha.
Let me tell you, a lot.
Yes, sir.
Whether it's white, black, Asian, doesn't matter. A lot of people need help in relate. Almost everybody I counsel and coach, unless it's directly related to business, and even many of those always goes back to relationships.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I have a few questions for you.
Okay.
Okay, one question is, as we're putting together a curriculum or something, do we have the freedom to go get some books like the 5 Love Languages and things like that, and just actually use that material or point people in the direction of that material? Okay, good.
Yeah, here's how you do that.
Okay.
No, go ahead. Finish the question.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Here's how I do that. If I feel I can truly guide them to the 5 love languages or something, and they will take action on it, and I'm not going to charge them hundreds of dollars for this session if I can tell them to go to $15 book, but they have to take action. If they're not going to take action and not going to read it, then I got to teach it to them.
Okay, good.
And how you do that is you go, I'm going to give you some of the things I have learned. And one of the great books is the 5 Love Languages.
Gotcha.
In that book, we're going to go over that today. But if I feel like they're going to take action, or if they just gave me $1,500 for a coaching program, I may hop on Amazon and send them this book for free.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Because it means something to them. Hey, guys, I'm going to tell you what, I'm going to send you this book. I want you to read it. If I send it, do you promise to read it before our next session? Can you take between the next 7 to 14 days and read it? Yes. Are you sure? And you get that promise from them. Tell them the book. Then you can talk about the book. Yeah.
Okay.
But remember the core of coaching also is getting their criteria. What's important to them.
Right.
And so you really want to look at that. So let's go back to targeting. So you're targeting this 30 to 50-year-old male, female, African American that really needs help in their relationship. Now, that's so vast we really got to target a little more.
Okay.
And the way we got to target even more is we got to find people that are willing to be helped, like we talked about a few minutes ago, not just needing help.
Right.
So willing to be helped. And that means they're willing to look at your blog, they're willing to look at your article, they're willing to look at your Facebook ad, whatever, your YouTube video, and they're willing to take a step. That might mean call me. That might mean go get our download. So one thing you may or may not have noticed with me lately, I've been very bold in a lot of my videos going, here's my phone number, 910-233-2511. I don't hide my phone number anymore because I want to help people. And if they're willing to pick up the phone and call a stranger, I'm willing to spend 5 minutes with them to see if I can help them.
Gotcha.
Okay. So you've got to target in not people that need, but people that are ready, willing, and able to buy.
That's the key.
Now, one of the things that you mentioned a few minutes ago, which I think is very, very key, is, you know, it has to be something like maybe even a crisis situation that draws people to do what they need to do. Like if a person is fearful that the way they're going is going to cause them to not have a relationship tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely. How many people quit smoking cigarettes and they get scared they got cancer?
Thank you.
They quit right then. They may fall back when they realize it was just just a fever blister, but they quit for that moment.
Right.
And so you're right. Sometimes the crisis has to be there. Sometimes, and this has to be done with efficacy and morality, but sometimes you've got to highlight and you've got to amplify what's already there.
Right.
For instance, a husband and wife that are not happy, they're not going through a divorce yet. They haven't cheated on each other yet. So they may not be motivated to come to you yet. But sometimes if they've gone that far, it's too late.
Yes.
Not always.
Yeah.
So what you've got to do is you've got to say, do you find yourself is a powerful word, powerful phrase. Do you ever find yourself unhappy? Do you find yourself feeling stuck in your marriage?
Yes.
And if they haven't, then you're not going to make them feel that way. No, I'm happy. Great. God bless you. But if they have, then they go, yeah, sometimes I have. Then you can go in from targeting to the next area we'll talk about next time of rapport. And rapport is not just I like you and you like me. Rapport is you have a problem, I can bring a solution, and you trust me to do it. And that's what rapport is. So we want to target in on people that A, are have a problem, B, are willing to admit they have a problem, and willing to do an action step.
Right.
And then we want to target. So I'm trying to cover a whole lot in 45 minutes. I'm going to jump into the next section. And over the next few weeks, we'll go deeper into this. But then you really want to look at where do these people hang out at? You probably heard the story years ago, Willie Sutton. I just like it because there's a Sutton in it. But Willie Sutton was a famous bank robber.
Okay.
And he always robbed all these banks in the Wild West. And they finally asked him, why do you keep robbing banks? You've been caught. Why do you keep doing it? And he said, because that's where the money's at. I mean, that's where the money's at. And it's no different than take a single man that is alone.
At the gym.
This is recorded, so I'm gonna be careful how much I share. But when I was single, I wasn't really like a club guy, bar guy. That just wasn't me. At the gym, I had no luck because I'm skinny, tall, and lanky. That is so where did I go? Yeah. I went to a lot of bookstores.
Okay.
I would go to bookstores because I really love to study. I love personal development. And even if I didn't meet someone, I was targeting someone I would like. But if I didn't meet someone, I still enjoyed the process of going to the bookstore, getting a cup of coffee, reading a good book.
Mm-hmm.
So where do people hang out? And I don't mean literally, physically like a bookstore, but I mean, where do we find these people? And one of the easiest ways to target people for your coaching is the Facebook groups. Because guess where they hang out? In those silly groups.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So, for instance, I've got a friend who's a digital marketer. I'm actually partnering with him in business. And so what we do is we help people with their Facebook, social media profiles, etc. So what we do, though, is we hang out in those groups so we can learn and offer services at the same time. Okay. I'm a member of many sales and training groups because I learn, and I'm also offering content that sometimes people will say, oh, I need your services. So real important that you start to think about where do these 30 to 50-year-old African-Americans hang out? Because if you only target broadly, you've got to do a lot of advertising to get to the right people.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Okay? If you target exactly where they're at, then it's a lot easier. If there is a weight loss, lupus, let's look at lupus. If there's a lupus support, I'm sure there is, group.
Mm-hmm. There's 1,000 of them.
That's a lot easier to target than if you're going. Yeah, so you go in there and you make yourself valuable.
Mm-hmm.
That's the number one. Is the passive, we're talking passive to direct. Number one, passive, you want to communicate. Now, to be direct, you could go in Facebook and you could target, I don't know if you could target people with lupus, but you know what I mean. You could target people in that.
Yeah.
You know,
they're there. They're there. And when I started going into some of the groups and saying hello and joined and all that, a few of them said they didn't want anybody selling anything. They don't want anybody. They just want people to listen and encourage one another. Now, a few of them are like that. And then a couple times I shared some information because I used to do a lupus line on Monday evenings. And they would call in and we would share and I'd have prayer with them and stuff. But then a few of them were resentful because I shared the fact that I was healed and I was trying to encourage on the healing. And some people said, well, basically, this is the will of God and it's going to be all over when I get to heaven kind of thing. So I kind of backed off and I pay more attention to them complaining and crying and moaning and groaning, and then but they get offended sometimes if you share anything. Like on the bright side, it's like some of the groups they really want to just stay there and cry the blues to one another, and so I'm just So I'm
Groups. Let me share with you. Friend who was her son was healed of autism, and so I thought the best thing I can do is to tell other people about this person that had autism, and I realized real quickly either they didn't believe it or they were mad because their child wasn't healed. So that didn't really solve a problem; it created problems. So let me share with you how to handle that. Number one, in those groups, if somebody needs support, you support. If somebody needs, if you can move, and this is a key of all sales, if you can move from one conversation to another conversation. So if you can move from the general Facebook group to a private Facebook message with one person, you're more apt to be able to share, hey, I overcame. If you're able to go from a Facebook Messenger to a phone, right? Look at it as somebody dating. You meet somebody in the singles bar is the group. The conversation at the bar is the Facebook group, and then hey, let's go grab a coffee down the street
Right.
That's
right.
phone call. So you want to move them through the stages. So now here's how you can target those people directly. But I'm gonna say this: use caution, because when you're talking life or death, like lupus is not as easy as you're not talking life or death. But sometimes you've got to polarize yourself. You've got to distance yourself. And when we polarize ourselves, it is really, and I think of people that are really like them or hate them, really good at polarizing. I'm gonna use two candidates: Obama, Trump. Obama polarized himself because he said we can do better, we can find change. First African American. It was definite a polarity from the normal white male president. Okay. Another one that came in with massive polarity was Trump. And so, like them or dislike them, either one doesn't matter. What matters is, without the polarity, I don't know if either one would have won. Okay. And now I'm not getting into what God's calling is. I'm talking just psychological. So let's look at the psychological reason behind why why people follow somebody. It's because they're different. So if you were to say, let's not even jump on lupus. That's a touchy subject. We'll do that more one-on-one without a recorded call. And I'll give you some ideas.
Okay.
But let's look at the relationship. If you can say, now, have you ever heard this phrase? Well, they say.
Right.
Well, they often say. Who is they?
Who are they?
So, who are they? So, but the key is they say. So what that is really the collective mind. It's the collective programming. They say this. So if you can disrupt that in your targeting, like, let's use lupus for a minute. Lupus does not have to be a death sentence.
No, it doesn't.
But you got to be bold. Because if you're wishy-washy, you're going to gain the people. If Trump is very bold. Obama was bold, not as brash, but he was very, very strong in his statement. So when we take that boldness in the approach of, you do not have to have a bad relationship. Do you realize more? And I don't know the numbers. I'm just totally making this up. We'd have to research this. Do you know blacks are 3 times more likely to get divorced, 5 times more likely to commit suicide over relationships, and blah blah blah, whatever. It doesn't have to be that way. And here's now. If I say that, my pale skin, they're going to be like, "Who are you? And how do you know that?" You know what I mean? Yeah. But if you say that, and we're going to help you. We're going to help you heal you. And you've got to be bold in your standing. If you're going to target people, you've got to be bold in your offer.
Yeah.
Got you.
So I'm getting more on offer targeting. I want to stay on targeting, but you really got to be bold. So the only way to be bold is to target the right people. Because if I go to if I go to a 23-year-old Asian and I go, do you want to learn how black people can succeed in relationships? Unless he is dating a black person, he don't care.
No.
Exactly.
So you've got to target the people. So we're going to go back to Avatar. I've kind of got off subject, but that's the beauty of these is it's okay. We can go back. The Avatar is the age, the race, the occupation, the gender. You really got to look at those things as who is my ideal. That doesn't mean every customer.
Right.
What are their values? What are their goals? What put a face to their name.
Yeah.
If you have to go online and find a person that you don't know but looks like, that's what I can see my ideal client being. To print it out, look at it. I'm helping this person today. Write a story about their life. And I mean, this sounds silly, But I'm telling you, if you write an imaginary story, Susan and Bob. Now that sounds about as wide as that can be, don't it? Okay, so you come up with your own name. But Susan and Bob came to me. Susan was 43, Bob was 49.
Gotcha.
They'd been married X amount of years. This is what happened in their relationship. This is where they're at. Da, da, da. And you write out an imaginary story because it helps you target. It helps you imagine the right person, and it helps you imagine how you help that person.
Gotcha.
Then you can target that person.
Gotcha.
You can really help that. Okay. So avatar is. Let's go through it one more time real quick. You want the name? You want their age. You want their gender.
Occupation.
You want their occupation.
Values,
you
goals.
want their values, goals. You want their education level. And you don't have to have it, but do you want to? Who do you think would come to you? What's their normal education level? And then that's the first thing. Secondly is a negative avatar. And what I mean by a negative avatar is who you don't want to work with.
Right.
And it doesn't mean, this is hard for people because they automatically think of people they don't like. Doesn't mean you don't like the person. It means you don't choose to work with them because you're not most productive.
Exactly.
Okay. I do relationship coaching, but if they get into areas of sexuality, I refer them to somebody else.
Exactly.
I just don't want to jump. I don't want. It's not my area that I choose to work in. So I'll talk to them about sex, but if it's deep areas of sexuality, sexual, gender, I don't do that. So who do you not want to work with in business? I will work with. And when I'm helping people in sales and so forth, I'll work with insurance agents. I'll work with, I'm working with a couple of doctors now, but there's certain occupations I don't fully understand, and I'll refer them to somebody. So start thinking of who you don't feel comfortable helping or just don't want to.
Right.
And you need to think about them as far as the very same criteria as the ones you do want to work with.
Okay.
Okay. Now, what you don't do is go, I'm sorry, I don't work with people like you. We don't want to. But what you got to be careful. But what you do is you target people that are not them.
Right.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So when you start, now we've got an avatar that you're starting to create in your mind, and this will be something you both can work on. But as you start working on this, as you start thinking about who this avatar is, one of the most powerful things you can do then is start looking consciously at where they hang out.
Yes.
And what I mean by that is not just Facebook. I use Facebook a lot because you can make millions just at least this time of our era and on Earth just by advertising on Facebook. But where else do they hang out? For instance, a lot of 30 to 50-year-olds are not on Snapchat or they're not on Instagram.
Exactly.
But if you said, I want to work with millennials, well, you might need to get off Facebook and start working on Snapchat and Instagram.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you need to start looking at where these people are. You need to think about what kind of books are they already reading.
Right.
Yeah.
Because you need to read the same books.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Speak the same language.
Yeah.
Speak the same language. Absolutely.
Yes.
So one thing you can do, and this is the beauty of Google. Google's going to be your best friend.
That's what I was going to ask you.
But you can type in top books bought by middle. I'm typing it as we're talking, so I'm just seeing middle-aged Black women. I don't know if it's okay. Yeah, okay, right here. BET, 15 books every Black woman should read.
Mm-hmm.
Now this is an article 3 years ago. But let me talk about targeting. Now, why somebody's done their research on this. I'm not saying their research is right, but somebody's done research on this. Somebody pulled this up. So you could go in here. Book one is I don't see book 1. Okay, book 2 is The Color Purple. And they got Angela, the impact of fatherlessness on Black women.
Wow.
Okay.
So again, you go through and now let me just talk about targeting. So let's say if I were in your shoes, here's what I would do. I would read that book.
Right.
Then I would do an article about that, and I would mention the book. Give the book credit. I do a video about that book. If the book's any good.
Yeah.
Attention, Black women. Are you a Black woman facing relationship issues? ?
Mm-hmm.
Could your father or the lack thereof be the problem?
Yes.
Watch this video.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Targeting in on something you can give back. You can give the book credit. But then you can also go in and work with that person because you'll have that book. You've already got your knowledge. So that is a simple Google search to show you what people are buying.
Yes.
See, it's easy to sell to someone who's already bought.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they've already bought this book, or they already are buying books like this.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so here's one. I'm going to throw this out at you. If you find one you don't like, that you don't agree with, and let's say you don't like, I'm going to give you a quick example. Number 15, and forgive my language, just going to read it as it is. Bitch is the new black.
Wow.
Okay, so let's read it.
Right.
An early 30-something DC-based journalist goes all in with a memoir that delves into her tortured childhood, lesbian mother, and entered the competitive world of journalism while searching for Mr. Right.
Wow.
I don't even need to read the book, and I could write an article about it.
Exactly.
So you're targeting the people who are facing situations. Yeah. You want your ads, your posts, your videos, you want people to go, oh my goodness, they understand me.
Exactly.
And I haven't even talked to them.
Exactly.
Right.
So what I want you to do is work on an avatar. Work on a negative avatar. Who do you want to work with? Who do you not want to work with? And go through those things I told you.
Very good.
And then I'll give you another, and I won't mention his name because I could be off on some of these stats. I had a gentleman tell me about his avatar, and he said, I work with middle-aged, white-collar executives and entrepreneurs that are already making $100,000 a year, but they want to start their own business.
Right.
So by targeting those people, number one, he knows how to talk their language.
Right.
Are you tired of working for the man? Are you tired of working for somebody else? He also, by targeting people at $100,000 a year or trying to, he can target those who can afford his expensive coaching program.
Right.
So by targeting, you're going to really, really start to focus in, and it's going to give you confidence. I'm very confident when people come to me and say, Wayne, can you coach me in this area? Because I have excluded the areas I'm not good at.
Right.
I can't teach you how to build a house. I can't teach you how to catch fish. I can't teach you how to hunt. I can help you in this area, though. And that's where you want to be.
Gotcha.
So,
okay. I have a couple questions. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Go for it. Yo, you go ahead. I'm done. Other than I'm going to answer your questions, and then we'll follow up next week. But go ahead.
Okay, my question doesn't have anything to do with this. My question has to do with the ghostwriter we're talking about.
Okay, then let me end this recording, and I'll call you right back. Does that sound good?
Very good.
I'll call you back in just 1 minute, guys. And for those who are listening to this recording, any of our coaches, we're doing these trainings for you, 910-233-2511. Give me a call, Facebook me, let's get you started. And be sure to pick up the book if you haven't, lifecoachlifestyle.com, lifecoachlifestyle.com.
Hey guys, Wayne Sutton. Thanks again for jumping on board. Listen to me, Life Coach Lifestyle, the Life Coach Lifestyle. What does that mean? What does it mean to you? What it meant to me this morning, I got up, I was able to do some ministry early in the morning, get that going, and I was able to take my daughters to school. I came back, I had breakfast and coffee with my wife. I grabbed Stella. I was able to spend some time with her while Isla was still asleep, and she just soaked up that attention. And I'm doing this video. I've got a few projects to do today, but I'm going to spend more time with my family because I have the freedom as a coach. I'm going to spend more time with God in prayer because I have freedom as a coach. I'm going to spend more time in the community because I have freedom as a coach. What does freedom mean to you? What would it look like to have total freedom? If you haven't joined us yet, first of all, if you haven't downloaded the book, I want you to download the book, lifecoachlifestyle.com, lifecoachlifestyle.com. Then read through it, learn, see what it means to be a coach. We have a free web class. I'll be happy to get on the phone with you and share with you. In fact, if you want to call me, once you've gone through the book, give me a call. You'll have my phone number. I want to share with you exactly how life coaching works, exactly how you can live in the freedom that you are ready for. I believe you're ready for it. That's why I believe you're watching this video. What would it look like? Download your book, lifecoachlifestyle.com. God bless.